Hey there, and welcome to the first of what's likely to be a long series of short tutorials to help people learn Crusader Kings II. A few of you have asked me to do this, and I've finally gotten around to do it. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I'd love to see more people get into it, even though it does tend to have a bit of a high bar for entry for people trying to jump in. I'm going to hop right to it here and go with an easy start that I think would be a nice one for just about anybody trying to test out the game. There's a lot of different eras you can start in, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose the classic Crusader Kings experience, so to speak, and go with the High Middle Ages, 1066 AD. When you click that, you'll see a lot of big name characters that pop up. They're powerful and recognizable from history and all, but what I would actually do is the opposite of what you might think first hopping into the game. Go to a custom game setup. We don't want to play any of the big boys really, even though there are some very big boys like the Holy Roman Empire here. We want to go to the little island of Ireland, even though we have this whole world to choose from. Ireland is nice because it has a lot of low power rulers here. As you can see, it's mostly two county and single county rulers and territories. These borders here differentiate between each independent lord. Mumu, which I hope I'm saying that right, is the one that I'd recommend giving a shot to. It's the only territory and the ruler that has 3 counties to begin with instead of 2 or 1. And the ruler overall is a pretty decent starting place for you to go with. He's not too terrible. So, yeah, you see this and try and avoid Scotland and England, of course, for a while you build your power, and hopefully you'll be able to expand and take most of Ireland, maybe even Wales if England doesn't gobble them up too soon. And make sure that you have Brian selected, and go ahead and play. These are the settings that I use. There's a lot of ways that you can really tweak the game to your liking in Crusader Kings. I'll scroll through these and you can see what I'm doing. I'll probably end up doing a tutorial in the future that goes over them in more detail. But these settings are the ones that I like playing with. Overall, a lot of options. And as you play through, a lot of these will probably make sense that if you're just looking at them for the first time now, they won't make too much to you. Then we'll go ahead and start the game. And there are a lot of details here that you can read as you're playing. I'm going to skip through these. We're playing as an Irish Catholic king. The culture, the religion, and the rank of the individual that you are gives you different options throughout the game. All of these things can really be changed along the way too, depending on how you play, but we'll get into more of that later. With this particular tutorial, I'm just going to run over the basics of when you first hop in. There are a lot of overlays you can use. Terrain seems to be the default. I personally don't know why. I never really use that one. It's cool to see the map as terrain, but the ones that I use most, especially since we're starting as an independent lord, Realms is the one that's really you're gonna want to stick with. So as you see this darkest green here, that's us, and we see each of these different shades of green around here are the other Irish lords. You can also look at your diplomatic relations, the religions in the area. See white everywhere over here. Catholicism has a solid grip on every territory around us. Cultures, see there's Irish, Scottish, Anglo-Saxon, Welsh, Breton, even some Norwegian over here, thanks to those Viking invaders. Economy shows you the strength of the individual places. The greener it is, the better. And as you play and build up your provinces, hopefully yours will get greener and greener as well. Duchies swaps into the color mode where it shows each of the counties in the duchy that controls them. For example, we're Mumu, and we have these 3 territories, but the de jure, or official duchy of Mumu, includes Desumane here. And if we want to take all of the territories, we have a claim on this already. Another thing we'll get back to later. But this separates the duchies. It's not necessarily the lord who owns it, but where the titles rightfully belong. Kingdoms is an even bigger version of that, where each county belongs to a larger duchy. Each duchy belongs to a larger de jure kingdom. That doesn't mean the kingdom exists again. That just means that the title of kingdom is there, and that someone who claims enough of it has a full claim on that kingdom as a king. We've got a while to go before we get to anything like that, though. And then, kingdoms, as we see here, like Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, belong to empires, which means if somebody gets really powerful and claims a lot of it, they can create their own empire from it. So that would be Britannia, Francia, the Holy Roman Empire in Italia. Revolt risk, as you can see, it's pretty peaceful at the moment. Sometimes armies will rise up and try to take control from you, or your neighbors if you get lucky, and you can swoop in and take it instead. Dynasties show which families are in control of each of these. Right now, our family controls all 3 of these. Here we are. We are the petty king of Mumu, so we are officially the ruler of these 3. But we have 2 vassals. Our marshal, who's also part of our family, as you can see from sharing the same color, and our steward. So they own these 2, we own this one, and we're still the lord that they answer to, so they are our vassals. Opinion, you can click on where you want to be and see everyone's opinion. Everyone's pretty lukewarm to us currently. That'll change too. Direct vassals, that shows if you have anyone who's answering to you. It'll change up. Trade zones is something we probably won't do much of with Ireland. It's big heavy areas that's down here near the merchant republics, or the roads out here leading to the east. We'd have to do quite a bit of expansion to get out there. Government types, we're feudal, as you might expect. There are a few others, but again, as Ireland, we're buried pretty deep in that classic Western European. Defensive pacts, none of those yet. And epidemics, luckily none of those. The first thing you're going to want to do is power through these tasks up here to get everything in order. And this is all before you even start hitting play on the game. The first one is just saying there's important decisions that are available. You could recruit a physician. And if you click this, it'll bring it up. And you've sent the message out that you're looking for a skilled physician. Candidates will come along, and that'll probably end up being in another tutorial, since this one's only going to last these first few tasks. But the message has been sent out. The petty king is looking for a new physician. We're unmarried, so we want to take care of that. Not only does your spouse add to your skills overall and make you a better ruler by being around you based on their skills, they'll also help provide you with heirs. Of course, you could crank out some illegitimate ones with the ladies of the court or the surrounding lands, but tends to be less dramatic if you're married. If you click the Arranged Marriage button, it'll bring up a lot of candidates here, and you can see their diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue, and learning skills, their age, and whatever traits they might have. Also shows their culture, their name, their current title, and their religion. This right here would show you what kind of diplomatic repercussions and benefits it may have. This would have a non-aggression pact with Hungary, which, although non-aggression pacts are always great, Hungary is a pretty decent distance away. So what I like to do off the bat is look for someone who's got good skills to help build the initial kingdom. And you can sort by clicking on these to find someone that you would like. Now she is Midas touched, which is the highest ranking. I'm having a economic style trait. They can end up having a lot of traits, as you see here. She's honest, gregarious, charitable, and content. Sounds like a pretty nice woman. She's Castilian, meaning she's quite a distance away, but not too far. So I'm just going to go ahead and see about marrying her. So we'll click, and we do not want matrilineal because as whichever type of marriage it is decides who has the family that's going to inherit. So if you are a male, you want this off. If you are a female, you want this on. Though marrying off family members and whatnot, as long as they're not your heirs or expected to be your heirs, you might swap that up just to seal in a marriage that offers some other benefits. Once again, she has a non-aggression pact with Duke Muñoz of Asturias de Santillana, and you'll gain some prestige from this. So we'll send that out. Now we also have an unmarried heir, our 18-year-old son. So you'd want to hit that up and look for someone as well. And if you're trying to expand anywhere where you might not have a claim, you can always go there, see who the ruler is, see if they have any children. Seems like right in this area there aren't a lot of female children. How about over here? Alright, so there's a 17-year-old over in Powys. So although we probably won't use that to gather any claims, it wouldn't hurt to start building a bit of a diplomatic tie with them, since they're not overwhelmingly powerful at 1.64k for their manpower, but it's a decent ally when we're mostly surrounded by smaller states, if we can pull them in. So let's see about Denise First-Blooded and arrange a marriage with her. As I'm trying to do that, you can see that currently they don't want to let that happen. So we'll do it the old-fashioned way to hurry through here. Hopefully somewhere along these tutorials you'll be able to see the other aspects of it. But let's see who's close by. There's Aquitaine, which isn't too far down here. Southern reaches of France, but she's a bit old for what we want. Alright, not a lot of options for diplomatic ties at the moment, at least on a quick run over. So instead, we'll see what kind of options we have, just like we did for our ruler for their stats. She looks pretty good. Envious, zealous, ambitious, paranoid. Some exciting traits there, but she's a gray eminence, extremely skilled at diplomacy, economy, and intrigue. And honestly not too bad with martial or learning either. I usually consider 10 to be a pretty solid score. So, for the moment at least, I would say we would pass on her though due to the age and chase down Anna. that'll at least get that out of the way for now. And if things change, we can always petition the Pope to divorce her. We want to pick an ambition for our ruler. So you click here and decide what kind of ruler you want to be, and you get bonuses if you complete these. We have the option to create a treasury, which would have us collecting artifacts, which are gathered through merchants or craftsmen and other events that pop up when you're chasing this. And you would gain a stewardship. Stewardship helps you to make money and build up the infrastructure of your nation. Making a friend is nice. Adds some diplomacy, which is always good, not only for dealing with those outside your kingdom, but those inside it. So it's a huge part of Crusader Kings is managing relationships within your kingdom, not just outside. Exalted among men, 5,000 prestige. That's a long way to go, so I wouldn't recommend that. King of Ireland, got a while before that as well, so I wouldn't recommend that as the first one. See the realm prosper, staying at peace for 5 years. I'm not entirely sure I want to stay at peace for 5 years. I think I want to expand right away. Our king here is most talented at war and acceptable at diplomacy, not the greatest at these others. So he's good for an initial surge of expansion. You can focus on making your heirs whatever you'd like them to be. Right here, we can declare our claim on the duchy, as I'd spoken about earlier. And if you click, you look, you can see the manpower. They got 660 in levies. We, on the other hand, can pull together just over 1,000. With that, we should be able to crush them pretty heartily, especially since they have no diplomacy. We'll start our war on the next tutorial. You also want to choose a focus. There's a lot of options here. As you see, there's business, rulership, intrigue, seduction, hunting, war, carousing, family, theology, and scholarship. For this, as I was just talking about how he is and where we want to go, I'm going to choose war. These others have some nice benefits that we'll probably touch on later, but with war, it's going to give him a +3 to his already solid martial skill and give him additional personal combat skill if he's in duels or duking it out with people along the way in the battles himself. So select that, and you see that it's popped up here. Up here, we'll choose... Let's go with Make a Friend. Nice and simple. Special title actions. Every ruler you have, you want to set the crown focus. And it makes it so they're more likely to prosper, as you see here, and they can receive special events. So what I'm going to do is slap it right in our own capital. Make crown focus. That's the one territory we personally hold, and the one that gives us the most in troop levies and taxes, since we hold it and it doesn't have to pass through anyone else first. Then there's the minor titles that you can bring to people. These do a variety of things for you. For the most part, they boost opinion at the cost of a tiny bit of expenses and whatnot. So while the individuals you place in these will get paid and gain some prestige every month, and they'll think more highly of you. Outside of that, there doesn't tend to be a lot that these really shake up in the game. But it can never hurt to throw some people in here, usually starting with your more important ones. So Master of the Horse. We've got our Earl here, so we'll throw him in there. Master of the Hunt, another Earl. High Almoner, Bishop, Cupbearer, and just the strongest people tend to be at the top. Tutor, we'll throw her in. Bebin Nick Bryan, and she has the highest learning, so she'll be able to help at the court, even though she doesn't seem to like us too much at the moment. And that would be the initial portions of what you would really do, and with the next tutorial, we'll actually hit the play button and start seeing how it progresses. Alrighty.